Who do you talk to when you're working on something and you feel stuck or unsure? My friend Dakari says having a conversation directly with his collages has helped take his art to another level. Let's see what that's all about and how listening to our work can help you and me too. My name's Balvo, and I'm an artist.
I'm Dakari Akil. I'm an Afro-Surrealist collage artist.
And this is Mind Over Matcha, where we share our everyday epiphanies, tiny droplets of wisdom with the potential to change the way you see the world. Take what you need and let the rest be negative space.
So I create my work at home. I basically turned my dining room into my art studio. I have a huge collection of old magazines that I pull from, old magazines, photo books, and stuff like that. My whole apartment has kind of turned into just like a home for all my collectibles, all my collector's items stuff, like vinyl figures and stuff like that, and photo books, some that I do cut from, some I don't cut from. Like I said, a large collection of magazines. I've been collecting magazines for as long as I've been doing collage. I've been collaging since 2011. I go through cycles of different materials. What I have right now is a fraction of all that I've had over time. What I really love about my practice is that I'm able to be, environmentally friendly. Like, it's basically upcycling.
Yeah.
you know.
So you make collages, and they've been classified as Afro-Surrealism.
Yeah.
You can see the surrealism, you can see the Afro-ness. And I suspect when I look at it, I see the past, the present, and the future of Black culture in your work. And
Yeah.
the future somewhat is you,
Yeah.
is your voice.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Afro and the surrealism means to you.
So I'll start backwards. So surreal Afroism.
Oh, interesting.
Just from the way that I'll explain it. The surreal part is me creating dream-like situations. You know how when you're in the midst of a dream and everything feels as it should be, or it could feel weird, but not so weird that it's like you don't realize how weird it is until you've woken up, right? So I try to create work that mimics that, to where everything fits together so perfectly, but it's not stationed in reality. And then the Afro part comes from it being from a Black perspective, and not even just a Black American perspective, but pulling from different angles of the diaspora,
Yeah.
different cultures and stuff like that, and how they relate, and then bring them into the surreal space.
Where do you see your voice fitting into this bigger picture of those cultures?
I see my voice fitting into this from the surreal part of it. Bringing my extensive imagination into it and building different compositions and structures based off of that. And the compositions are forms of conversations that I'm having with the work. And like each part of it is questions or answers or statements that me and the art are kind of trading back and forth with each other.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I think we personify so many things, right? We personify our pets, our belongings, sometimes even our body parts. But art feels so deep and so difficult to personify because it's like not this simple thing that you can just call a cute little guy, right?
Yeah.
How did you crack that open and begin to have this dialogue with your work? Like, what was that initial door opening moment?
I had a conversation with a friend of mine who suggested that I try that. Prior to that, I never thought of doing that with my work, like actually having a dialogue with it.
Yeah.
And until he suggested that I do that, because I had always approached my work as this is just what free thought looks like when, you know, I'm able to put images to it and bring them all together.
Yeah.
And often that would lead to work that not necessarily doesn't mean anything, but not having the need to mean anything. It's I'm communicating a feeling, and that is a strength of mine, being able to communicate a feeling that may not be able to be put into words. But me being the artist that I am, I love challenging myself. So when he told me to try that, I took it as a challenge, and I ended up falling in love with that process. And I realized, oh, this is really the direction I should be going in right now. Not ignoring what I was doing before, where it's like I'm communicating a feeling, because like I said, it's definitely a strength of mine being able to do that, and it adds so much character to my work, and leans further and further and further into the surrealism part. But being able to not just capture the feeling, but also being able to push narratives with it and start a conversation with it takes it even further.
Can I get a little deeper into that?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're cutting out images that feel right, or that go towards some theme that you're working on. At various points in the process, do you stop and how does that, can you just talk about how it works?
So the way that my process works now is that I still have to start off by just putting things together that I feel something from, right? And what I do once I have something going, I notice that there's something that's going, I literally will stand up over the work so I can see it from an expanded view. I'll stand there and cycle it through my mind and try to figure out what is being said here. Or sometimes it might be painfully obvious what's being said here.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, so this is where this is the direction that this piece is going in. Let me push this conversation further and respond to it on this part of the collage.
Ooh.
But everything is in response to each other in some sort of way, whether it fits perfectly or it's challenging it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I made you some tea.
Thank you. Do we cheers tea?
So have you ever gotten to a point where you stop and you have this dialogue with your work and it's said something you didn't agree with, or it said something to you that was out of left field?
Not that I can think of, but I think some pieces have brought up different challenges, and maybe they help me flesh out thoughts better or help me to articulate certain thoughts better. Maybe that hasn't quite happened to me because I'm in control of the conversation. But that could be a challenge for me to try and find different ways of having conversations with the work. Where it's like,
or releasing control.
Maybe we're debating. I haven't had a debate with my work yet, you know?
Yeah. So that sense of control is kind of still there, and you're essentially, what I'm getting is that you pause and listen so that the work guides you to the next step. Yeah. Does that dialogue continue into after the piece is done too?
It does, and that lies within the depth of the work. Like a lot of my more recent works that are heavily layered, it takes time to unpack everything that's being said in it, and that's by design. I want you to have to sit with the work. I don't want for my work to be something that you can pick up and look at for 2 seconds and feel like you have an understanding of what you're looking at. It's meant for you to spend time with it. Some of my favorite songs, some of the lyrics of the songs that I could have been reciting for years, word for word, I, at a later stage when I've matured or gained a different level of experience or something like that, might have a completely different understanding of it now because of the time that's passed.
Yeah.
And I like to create my work from that same stance.
Oh, I love
being
that.
able to do that,
Yeah. Do you think that process of listening to your work, have you seen it in other parts of your life where big decisions, moving somewhere, like where you just stop and listen?
Yeah. I'm definitely a follow your heart, follow your gut type of person.
I love it.
Yeah. I knew when it was time for me to move all the times that I did, and I did not ignore it. So much of my inspiration comes from, my experiences in Cleveland. I was born and raised there. It made me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to a certain point where, you kind of feel like you've outgrown your nest.
Wow.
A bit, I personally don't believe that we're meant to stay in one place for our whole lives.
Yeah.
We gain so much by trial and error and by throwing ourselves out there, taking those leaps and stuff like that. And I personally feel very rich in experiences, and I think it shows in my work.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. When I left Cleveland, I was having a pretty tough time in life at the time. This was my mid-20s. And I moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I went to went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh right after high school, and I moved back to Pittsburgh for a job and really to just kind of have a bit of a familiar, kind of new-ish experience, but my plan was to stay there for about 2 years and then maybe move to LA to see how it feels. But it turns out going to Pittsburgh right out of having some pretty dark times in Cleveland, I just brought it with me, basically.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I had certain things I needed to just kind of work out within myself. I feel like that's what your 20s are about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just going through all these big life changes. You're new as an adult, but you're still a kid in a way. It's still a lot of.
How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm grown.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you get older, it's man, I was really a baby.
Yeah. Not everybody's an artist, right? So I wonder how that process of pausing and listening, you think, could apply to or could benefit other people who do other things?
I think being able to step outside of yourself and be open to receiving different perspectives is key to your own personal growth. I'm already naturally a person that prefers to listen more than I talk. I am very observant, and I take my time with things like that. And I just think that approach to life has served me well. I can't tell other people that my way of life
Sure.
is the way that's going to work for them
Yeah.
as well. But give it a try. I don't know.
Are you trying to say that sometimes you need to shut the fuck up?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, if you want to word it like that, I wholeheartedly agree. A lot of times, you know, if I could say, a lot of times we need to shut the fuck up and just listen for
Yeah.
real, because we don't know everything. The world is crazier and more unlimited than we think. There's like a fun thing that I like to do with myself. Sometimes I don't think I've ever vocalized this or like ever told anyone this. Something that I like to do is think of any type of random scenario that someone could be going through right now and realize that that is probably happening in multiple places right
Yeah.
now, somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the world, somebody is
Having
naked,
tea and shooting a YouTube video.
naked, doing a backflip off of a bridge
Yeah.
into a lake or something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody's doing that right now as we speak, right as I said it.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, we get so lost in our individuality,
Yeah.
but like we're part of this thing that's always happening.
Yeah.
I really love that. I think that my takeaway from this conversation is that our art and our work is not the output, it's not the final product. It's a process and it's a relationship.
Yeah.
And you're showing me today that like sometimes you got to pause and nurture that relationship so that it's back
Absolutely.
and forth and you're not trying to steer the whole time.
Yeah. Can I add to that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think as you were saying that, it made me like realize something that like my art has grown so much with me, and I feel like I have kind of always in a way looked at my art as if it's my child. And I think where I'm at with it right now, I'm at the stage where my child is learning how to talk.
Wow.
You know what I
Wait
mean?
till it learns how to drive, dude.
Nuts.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think for anyone watching, whatever you do, right, whether it be you're cooking or you knit or you're a business person and you want to find creative approaches to certain problems, shut the fuck up and listen seems like really good advice. But how do you do that, right? Like, what are opportunities to pause when the world demands so much of you all the time? But for me, I want to share this. Like, sometimes you gotta make time to pause. I journal, I write. I take time to do absolutely nothing and like have to deal with the disturbing things going on in my brain.
Yeah.
What are some practices where you pause and you listen in life, not just work?
When I walk into any room, I think because I'm naturally introverted, that's like a byproduct of it, you know? I'm introverted because I take my time to feel out spaces and understand how me being in that space changes the space.
Oh, wow.
Or if it does at all.
Yeah.
If my presence matters. I try not to have an ego about things, which is why, like, you know, shutting the fuck up is great, because I can just be where I'm at, you know? Yeah.
Thanks for sharing this time with me, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thanks for the tea.
You're working on a book too.
I am. I've been working on it for 3 years.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I am missing one final piece, but then we're in the production stages of it, which is the part that's kind of been the holdup, because it's going to be very, very expensive to put it together.
Yeah.
Because I care so deeply about the presentation and the quality of it, I won't settle for any less than what I have in my mind for it. So like,
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
I won't put it out until I can afford to.
That's
And
beautiful.
basically, imagine that I'm trying to buy a brand new car right now by putting this book
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
It's almost an equivalent.
Yeah. I think visually your work is so stunning, so deep and rich, and it's hard for me to just like show a couple pieces on this YouTube video.
Yeah.
Right? I really feel like if you're watching this and you think Dakari has an interesting approach to work or art or whatever, to life, I really suggest you take a look at his website, take a look at all of his other work, because it's really rich, it's really deep, and like I can't do it justice with this video. So I implore you to listen to him.
Yeah, and, follow me at DK1994 on Instagram. My website is dakariart.com, DAKARAIART.com. There's a really fun collage creator page on my website where you can create a collage from clips that I've added to this archive, and you can save and print these collages for yourself and hang them up on your walls, and learn how to shut the fuck up and listen to the work that you've made on my website.
It's beautiful. And if y'all want to support my projects, it's balvomusic.com. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a comment. Tell us what you think about it. Hit the like button, share it with somebody, like, you know, all the standard stuff. But Dakari's Everyday Epiphany definitely has colored the way that I see the world, and I hope it does to you too. Thanks you guys for joining us for Mind Over Matcha. We'll see you next time.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you.